chances are you're on this video because you want to learn how to set up and use TradingView to its full potential. Now, this video serves as a complete guide, as a complete course on how to use this software. I'm going to go over every single thing that you must know about TradingView. I'm going to give you all the tips, all the tricks, every single thing you need to know in order to maximize this program's potential. Now, TradingView is a very robust and very powerful software, so there's a lot of small little things that a lot of traders miss, especially when setting things up. So I'm going to go over all that with you. It doesn't matter how new you are, how experienced you are, there's no question that you're going to learn something new in this video. So let's get started. So real quick, for those of you that don't know what TradingView is, essentially all it is, it's just a software that allows you to pull up charts, and it allows you to do technical analysis, to draw trend lines, fibs, channels. It allows you to pull up indicators. It allows you to do your technical analysis so you can make trading decisions on any asset that you want to trade. So there's a free version and a paid version of TradingView. The free version is ad supported, so you might see ads here and there. And also you're limited to the features, so you won't be able to use all the features that TradingView has. Personally, I have the paid version, and in fact, I'll go over the first nugget. So a lot of people don't know this, but TradingView, you can actually get a discount, which is what I have. I'm Indian, so of course I had to get a discount. So let me explain how this works. Our company, Market Makers University, has partnered up with TradingView to give brand new people who have never used TradingView before a discount. Now, this only works for people that have never used TradingView before, but if you already have a TradingView account, let me show you a little workaround where you can still get the discount. So pretty much how this works is there's a link in the description that if you click the link, this page should pop up and you should see this little pop-up. Now, if you're not seeing this little box, or maybe you already have a TradingView account and you want the discount, what you'll have to do is you'll have to copy the link in the description. You'll have to, on your browser, you'll have to open up an incognito window, because what this does, this is gonna clear the cache, clear the cookies in your browser, and you're gonna have to paste, you're gonna have to copy and paste the link in the actual browser. And this way, this box should pop up, and TradingView will think you are a brand new customer, which will allow you to get the discount that I'm going to explain to you. So once this pops up, you will just go ahead and click Explore Plans. Remember, there's a free version, a basic version that doesn't cost anything, and then there's different tiers of the paid version. Personally, I use the premium version, and I'm going to show you how to get a discount on that plan as well. So once you're on this page, you would pick whatever plan that you want. And instead of clicking where it says pay now, don't click that, but instead click where it says try free for 30 days. So you'll get the little $30 discount, but more importantly, towards the end of this 30-day period, what will actually happen is towards like the last week or so, TradingView is going to give you like a little pop-up, and they'll send you like an email or whatever that says, it's going to give you an offer that says upgrade to like a year plan. And it's like a one-time offer where they'll give you any of these tiers half off. So that's what I did. So pretty much you can get the premium version for 30 bucks a month if you take that one-time offer. So that offer should show up just towards the end of the 30-day trial. So that's the golden nugget that a lot of people don't know. You can get the premium plan for half price. But remember, this whole discount thing only works for brand new customers. So if you already have a TradingView account, you're going to have to use a brand new email that's not associated with TradingView, because they're not going to give a discount to someone who's already a member. They're not making any extra money. The reason why they're giving this discount is because TradingView wants new customers, right? So they want to give the discount to brand new customers. If that makes sense. So you use a new email, sign up with a new email, and you'll get that half off discount. So pretty much what you'll do, you'll click try free for 30 days. And then it's going to put a little sign in window. What you'll do is actually click on the bottom that says sign up. You click sign up, and then you click on email or whatever you want to sign up with. I would just click email, and then you would just sign up and then continue through the sign up process. So just remember, you're going to have to use an email that hasn't been associated with TradingView before, and make sure you use that link in the description to get that discount. So for those of you that want to run through the setup process with me during this video, pause this video now, create the account, and then we'll run through the setup process once your account is created. Now, whenever you've logged in, whether you have a free account, paid account, it doesn't really matter. Once you go to tradingview.com and you're logged in, you'll see this page. So what you'll need to do, and the only thing that really matter of fact, I never visit tradingview.com directly. I never visit this page. So pretty much once you're on this page, you would just click on products and then chart, and a chart will pop up. This is the page that I'm pretty much on 100% of the time. Like I never go to tradingview.com. I'm like always on a chart. So let's kind of run through this setup process together real quick. So your chart might visually look a little bit different than mine, but that doesn't matter. We'll just kind of run through how I have my chart set up so you can kind of set things up the same way. So let's kind of run through it. First thing, you'll see this chart, and what you would do is, first thing you want to do, you want to right click the chart. You want to go to settings. Once you go to settings, this is where we kind of adjust and modify the colors as you see fit. So let me kind of run through this, and then I'll show you all the little features, and I'll show you all the important tips and tricks that you must know in order to make sure that you're maximizing this platform. First thing, so you go to symbol. You can toggle this on and off to fill in the color of the candles of the bodies. If you toggle it off, it looks like that. Toggle it on. And then you can change the color of these here. This is all preference. Personally, I like to make my candles green that are going up. I like to make my candles red that are going down. There are people that like to do white and black. So if the candle's going up, sometimes they want to do white. And if the candle's going down, they want to do black. Same thing with the borders. They would want to do white. Or you can even disable the borders. And for the wicks, you can do black and black. You can do whatever you wish. Personally, I like to keep it green and red. So let me cancel this and go back to this. So that's how you pretty much set that up. You can kind of play around with it. And by the way, other traders like to not use red and green because it kind of messes with their psychology possibly. So you can use like gold and purple. You can use like any colors, right? Black and gold, blue and another color. So it's up to you. It's all preference. And you can enable the bid and ask lines. Personally, I have this enabled on my MetaTrader 4 on my phone. However, I don't have this enabled on TradingView on the computer. So by enabling this, what you'll see two lines that show the bid and the ask price. But for TradingView, since I personally don't trade on TradingView, I don't have that enabled. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you set the time zone to whatever time zone that you're in. I'm in Central Time Zone, so I do UTC -5. You would set it to whatever time zone that you're personally in. Next thing, status line. You want to go ahead and enable symbol. Previously, I didn't used to do this, but TradingView updated something, which I'll explain later. So you might as well enable the symbol. And then for this, I usually just leave it on ticker. What this is, by the way, this is this little line right here. So let me untoggle this. Notice the difference as I'm toggling it. Putting description shows the word pound and yen. I just use ticker because it's just shorter. You really don't need to do all that, right? So. And then personally, I leave OHLC values enabled. What OHLC is the open, high, low, close. These are the OHLC values. I leave that enabled. You can kind of see what happens as I'm toggling it off. So pretty much what OHLC means, this means whatever candle that your mouse is hovering over, it's going to show you the open price of wherever the candle opened. It's going to show you the high, which is the H, the high of that period. And then it's going to show you the low of that period. And then the C stands for close. It's going to show you what price that candle closed. And then these I just leave disabled. Next, we'll go ahead and go to scales. Symbol, name, label. You do not need to enable this because I'm sure you know what chart you're looking at. You want to try to leave this as clean as possible. We leave this enabled because it tells you what the current price is. You kind of see as I'm toggling it. And the next thing you want to make sure you have enabled, you want to make sure you enable countdown to bar close, because I'm currently in the 1 hour chart. It's going to count down to whenever this bar is going to finish to the point when a new bar is going to appear. So make sure you have this enabled. So those are the most important settings there. Next, for the appearance. For the background, I don't like to do gradient. I like to keep it solid. And then for the color, you can do whatever color that you want. I personally have it just a little bit like a light gray. I personally don't want to do a full complete white. because it's kind of a little bit harsh on the eyes. And some traders even like to do black. This is all personal opinion. This right here, vertical grid lines and horizontal grid lines, what I would recommend is you want to make the opacity all the way. You want to make the lines completely transparent, because if you have lines and it's not transparent, you'll see these little lines here and you'll see these little lines here. And it's not necessary, and it clutters your chart. So make sure it's all the way. Next, session breaks. I don't have the session breaks. It's not really necessary. I turn that off as well. And then the rest you can do preference. Watermark, I make sure I have that off. Pretty much what that is, it just kind of shows you what pair you're on. It is not necessary because it literally tells you here and it tells you here. So you don't need that. Have that disabled, and then you can kind of look at the rest. Trading, I don't really mess with this because I don't trade on TradingView. I trade on my actual broker or MT4. Now on the events tab, you can enable the events, but it just kind of clutters the bottom of the chart. I'll enable it to kind of show you. This is kind of what you see. It kind of shows you the events that's happening for that specific currency pair. But if you do want to kind of enable it, what I would recommend is just do only future events, because it keeps your chart clean and it only shows you events that are coming in the future. Watch, I'm going to enable this. And it's only going to show these. Personally, I just have it disabled. I want to keep my charts as clean as possible. Okay, so let's say you've completely set everything up and everything is how you like it. What you would actually do is you would actually click on template, and then you would hit save as, and then you can save the theme, whatever you want. So that's pretty much how you set up the color scheme of TradingView to make it clean as possible, to give you the as least amount of distractions as you possibly can. You want to try to keep your charts as clean as possible when you're trading. Now, the next thing we should talk about is the actual watch list. So some of you guys might actually have had this little panel open as you guys were setting this up. This right here is the watch list area. So just know that you can always click on these little icons on the right to toggle this little side pane on and off. Personally, I always have this little side pane minimized. I have it clicked off because it just gives me a bigger screen. But if you go ahead and click this, you can modify your watch list. So how we would do this is we would actually go ahead and click on this little down arrow. And then you can click on where it says create new list, and we would create a new list. So for example, we can do MMU YouTube, and it's going to make a brand new list. And then once you have this list created, you can add things to this list. This essentially is like a favorites list of the different symbols that you want to follow. So for example, we hit the little plus button and this little screen pops up, and you can put all your different favorite assets and currencies and stocks and crypto or whatever you want in this list. So it's all like simple and listed out for you. So for example, let's just do GBP JPY. And what you'll notice is you'll see like a list of GBP JPY multiple times. So here's the thing. What you want to do is you want to make sure you try to look for the feed of the actual broker that you're using. Your broker might not be listed on this. This is more for market maker based type brokers. But if your broker is listed on this, you want to try to make sure that you use that broker's feed. So for example, if your Forex account, your demo account, or your live account is using forex.com, you want to make sure that you add this to the feed. If you're using Owanda, you want to make sure you add that to your feed. If you're using Pepperstone, you want to add that to your feed. You want to make sure you add the feeds according to whatever broker that you're using. Now, for those of you that can't find your broker in this list, no big deal. It's not a big deal at all, actually. If your broker's not on this list, you want to make sure you always default to FXCM. Very, very, very important. Now, real quick, for those of you that do have a broker that's on this list, you want to make sure that you filter to that broker only, because you don't ever want to mess up and use a different feed. So let me tell you what you would need to do. So let's just say you're using Owanda, for example, as your broker. So you would just click on all sources, and you could just type in Owanda here and just click on that. And what's going to happen is it's only going to show that one. Everything else is just going to disappear from the list. And this way you don't have to worry about accidentally clicking like a different feed. In fact, if I just click erase this, you'll notice it's just going to pull up everything that Owanda has to offer, right? So we'll just do GBP JPY. And then we'll do gold. We'll just click on the plus button on gold. And let's say you're not using Awanda, you would just click on that and click back on all sources, and now everything will come up. And then if you have a broker that's not in this list, let's do Euro USD, I would suggest to just default to FXCM if your broker is not in this list. So then everything would be FXCM. So just click on that, Euro USD, and this is how you would create your list. So if you're trading crypto, BTC USD, just make sure that you try to use what you're using. If you're using Coinbase, there's that. Binance, there's that. FTX, Kraken, Binance US. Just do the one that you're using. We'll just do Coinbase for now. And then now you have that added to your feed. Next thing real quick I want to talk about is you can color code these just by adding this little flag symbol. So let's just say for all the crypto stuff, you want to make all your crypto purple. Or let's say for all your Forex stuff, you want to make all the Forex stuff like green. So it's like very easily color coded for you. Or alternatively, just get creative with it. If you want to leave everything off, and let's say you only want to color code the pairs that you have a trade running, you can just label them green if you have trades running on them, right? So it's up to you. Just be creative on using this feature. So in this case, we know that I'm running a trade on GJ, running a trade on GJ and Euro USD, for example. It's like a kind of like a self note. Now this panel right here, this shows you all the alerts that you currently have set up, and the rest of the stuff I really wouldn't worry about. And this button right here, this just enables full screen mode. It just gives you a bigger canvas to work on. And the button next to this is a very extremely useful feature, especially if you're trading with other people. You click on take a snapshot, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to take a screenshot of the chart, whatever you're looking at. Just to give you a quick example, I'm going to draw a quick little trend line or something here, and I'm going to hit copy link to chart image. It copied the link to my clipboard, and I can just paste the link anywhere. Example here, and now this is just a screenshot that you can send people of your analysis. So you can like text it to a buddy or like send it on Telegram or whatever. So that's a good little nifty, neat little feature right there. And the next thing I want to talk about, this little button right here where it says select layout. Pretty much what this allows you to do, it allows you to put multiple charts on the same screen. But this feature is only available for like the premium or the paid version. So make sure you have the premium plan if you want to use that feature. So you would just pretty much click on this and you can kind of split it up into whatever you like. I'll just do this one. It's pretty kind of simple. You just click on that and it'll just like pull up two different charts. So on the left, you can have GBP, JPY. On the right, you can have Bitcoin or whatever. This way you can kind of watch two different charts at the same time, and you can draw your technical analysis and compare and do whatever you want to do. But let me kind of go back to the single chart to make it kind of simple. These little back arrows and whatnot, like let's say you're drawing technical analysis and you kind of mess something up, hit the little back arrow, it erases it. Next, replay tool. This is only available for the paid version, for like if you're on the 1 hour chart or the 4 hour chart or whatever. But pretty much what this does, it allows you to pretty much click this and you can like click anywhere back in the chart, and then it erases all the candles to the right. And then you can just like practice and do your technical analysis and kind of like play around and kind of see how your trading would go as if you were kind of trading. And this little thing pops up at the bottom where you would be able to move forward one candle at a time. Just keep clicking on this, and then you would just hit play if you want to just allow it to play out. And then you can adjust the speed of how fast it moves. And then you can hit this one to kind of go back to the current candle. Boom. That pretty much, and you click on the X button to cancel the replay tool. Next, you use this feature to create an alert. So you pretty much click that and you can allow it to give you an alert whenever the price is passing a certain predefined price. So if I want the price, if I want to get an alert at 163.69, notice the alert kind of moves. And then you can set it to only once, which means the alert will only trigger one time, or you can set it to every time where the alert will trigger every single time that the price touches your alert. You can add an expiration date on the alert. So maybe you only want to be alerted if the price touches that within the next 4 days, and you kind of have it expire after that. If you have the app downloaded, which I do recommend download the app, you can also allow it to notify you on the app as well. And then this bottom section here, you can just write down whatever you want. Reason for alert. So you can write your reasoning for why you have the alert, because like in case you have a lot of alerts set up, this way you'll at least know why you had written the alert in the first place. And just know this feature is only available for like the paid plans, which this is right here the pretty much the only reason I have the paid plan, because I rely extremely heavily on the alerts. Very, very, very crucial, like for our trading plan. So anyways, you hit create alert, and then your alert is created. Anyways, you can kind of click that to view it, and then you can actually right click the little triangle to go ahead and delete it, remove. Yes. There, now it's gone. Next thing, indicators. So this is super important. A lot of people love indicators. So you click on this, and pretty much what it does, it just pulls up the indicators that TradingView has a bunch of indicators. And what you can actually do is you can actually click on the little star button to favorite whatever indicators that you want to favorite, and they'll appear in your little favorites toolbar. I don't know what these are, so I'm going to not enable those, but it kind of favorites the ones that you want as your favorites. So yeah, that's where the indicators are. And actually, real quick, you guys might actually even have volume as an indicator on your chart already. So your chart might look like this. So I don't really look at volume when it comes to Forex. So what I would do, I would click on this little X button to exit out the indicator. Whenever you have indicators displayed on your chart, the list will all appear in this little list right here. I'm going to exit this out. I'm actually going to go ahead and go open up the average to range. And as the indicator appears, you can go to settings and status line, and you can disable or enable the indicator titles. I would leave that enabled. I don't really need the indicator arguments. I will leave that disabled. The indicator value, I would definitely have that enabled. And that's pretty much it for the indicators. You can move the indicators to the top. You can move the indicators to the bottom. You can even minimize the indicator, and then you can open it back up. Another thing you can do to minimize the indicator is just double click the actual chart, and it'll just like disappear it completely. Double click the chart again, it'll pop up again. So this is how you pretty much quickly minimize all the indicators. Just double click the chart, and then double click the indicator if you want to maximize that as well. So whatever you double click pretty much gets maximized. I'm going through all these small little tips and tricks. So if you're getting value, if you're finding value off of this video, make sure you hit the like button. I'm going through a lot of small little minute details that a lot of traders miss. But anyways, for now, you can either exit the indicator through here, or you can exit the indicator by hovering your mouse over it and just clicking the little X button right here. But before I do, on every indicator, you can actually click the settings button, and you can always edit the parameters for each indicator that you have. So this right here is how to set up and modify the parameters of whatever indicator that you're looking at. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and erase that, remove that, and I'm going to go ahead and clear the chart. Next, this area allows you to kind of determine whatever type of candle style that you want to see. Some people like to look at bars. Others like to look at Heikin-Ashi, for example. Here's Heikin-Ashi candles. Others like to look at like a straight up like a line chart. There's that. Personally, I just like to look at candles because it gives you a lot more information. Now, for those of you that really don't know too much about candles and candlestick patterns and whatnot, I made a video on my YouTube channel going over every single thing you need to know. So I'll go ahead and link that video right here above my head. You can click on that once you are done with this video here. And the next thing I want to talk about is the time interval. So what you can do, click on the little down arrow, and you can go to pretty much any time frame that you want. For the free version, you won't be able to access like smaller time frames, I believe. But if you have the paid version, like all of these should be accessible. But you can click on whatever time frame you want to look at. Let's say you want to look at the 15-minute chart. It pulls it up. And what you can do is you can actually favorite the ones that you go through and toggle more often. These are the ones that I have favorited. So you can kind of copy me and favorite those if you want. So personally, I trade on my laptop, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. I love using the trackpad for TradingView because it allows so much flexibility. Now this stuff might be simple, but if you scroll upwards with 2 fingers on a trackpad, it just kind of scrunches all the candles up. If you scroll down with 2 fingers, it makes them thick. If you scroll that way with 2 fingers, it moves the chart that way. If you move it that way, it kind of moves the chart backwards. So you can do all sorts of stuff with the trackpad. It's just very quick and very simple to kind of mess with. And for those of you that are on a Mac, if you hold Command on your keyboard and you scroll up or down, it zooms in and zooms out to wherever your mouse is. So quick little tip, just do it to see what happens on your end. You'll kind of see what it does. So you just hold Command on a Mac. If you're on Windows, I'm sure it's Control. So you just got to hold Control as you just scroll between the chart. It zooms into the exact spot you want to look at. Because otherwise, whenever you zoom in, it just zooms into the rightmost candle. That's what happens usually. Notice it just kind of zooms into the right. That's pretty much how you navigate the actual charting itself. So let's talk about this little column right here real quick. You click on this and it allows you to go through various different modes. You can do the cross, which is what I prefer the most, or you can do dot. I don't really use the dot. I'd rather just do the cross. It allows me to line it up a lot more precise. And then it allows you to use an arrow or an eraser, because if you have a lot of like technical analysis on the chart, you can just click on the little eraser tool and then just click on whatever you want to erase. And again, I said I was going to go through like advanced things on this video. So some advanced things I'm going to talk about real quick is, let's say you have some technicals here, technicals here, technicals here. One thing you can actually do is, if you're on a Mac, you can hold Command. If you're on a Windows, you can hold Control, and just hold Command or Control, and you can highlight multiple things at once and then just hit delete. That's a quick little shortcut not a lot of people know about. Now this next section here is the trendline area. So if you put your mouse over this little small little arrow here, it'll pull up all the different tools that it has, all the different types of lines that you can possibly draw, either like a horizontal ray or any of this little stuff right here. Now, for example, let's say we want to activate like a trend line and we want to draw a trend line somewhere. You just click somewhere, drag, move your mouse around, click somewhere else, and the trend line is actually created. And here you can click on this little gear icon to edit and modify the style of the actual line itself. So if you don't want to use black trend lines, or maybe you want to use like blue, or maybe you want it a little bit thick, and maybe you want to do like a dotted line, or maybe you want to add like an arrow to the end of the line, or go back to the line, or maybe you want to even extend the line all the way to the right to infinity, or maybe you want to extend the line to the left to infinity as well. It allows you to do all of that. You can modify any single tool in here. You can modify it to the way that you feel fit. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and change this back to black, thickness 1, remove the extended left and right. You can always modify anything you want over here as well. And the next one here is like the arrow. If you want to use like an arrow tool to kind of point at things, you can always add an arrow tool. You can always modify it through either here or through the settings. You can always modify any of these tools. And then if you want to delete something, just hit backspace on it, or just click the little trash can icon in the thing that pops up. And then maybe if you accidentally deleted something, you can always hit the back arrow to kind of pull those things back up as well. Next, this area has various different things you can essentially use to highlight or draw over your chart. For example, brush tool. If you want to like freehand something on the chart, you can do it through that. You can always modify the colors as you see fit as well. And the rectangle tool allows you to draw like horizontal zones for like support and resistance, or maybe you want to highlight like a specific area. You can highlight like a specific area as well. And this path tool, this essentially allows you to just click, and it allows you to create like a little path. And you just have to double click at the end to finish the actual drawing. Next, the text area, again, click on the side. It allows you to pull up all these different types of text or ways you can annotate your chart. The text tool, pretty simple. Just allows you to write things on the actual chart itself. Text here. Next one, personally, I love to use the note tool. Pretty much what this does, you can click anywhere on the chart and you can write a note anywhere that'll essentially remain minimized unless you hover your mouse over it. So let me give you an example. The reason why I use notes personally is just to write the reasons I wanted to enter the trade. So just visual, for me, it's like notes. It's like a way I can go back in history and kind of understand why I decided to enter that trade like a week ago. So for example, you can do like reason to enter trade number 1, number 2, reason 3, reason 4, right? You hit OK, and pretty much what this does, if you click anywhere on the screen and your mouse is not over it, it remains minimized. And if you hover your mouse over it, it pops up. So once you have like a lot of these on your chart and you have a lot of different notes and whatnot, your chart can get a little bit crowded and messy. So a way to kind of keep your chart clean is to use the note tool, which will always keep your things minimized unless you hover your mouse over it. So it's a very useful tool. Next, if you use any of these little pattern tools, here is where they are. The triangle pattern, head and shoulders, any of these little stuff right here. Next, thing that a lot of traders always ask me is how do you put the long position tool or the short position tool? It's way over here on the left. Example, you can click on the long position tool, and what it'll do is it'll allow you to, for example, if I click it here, it'll allow you to visually, this doesn't enter a trade for you, it just allows you to visually look at where you want to enter your trade, which is the center part in between the red and the green. And it allows you to customize and adjust and drag around your stop loss distance. It allows you to customize and adjust and modify your take profit distance for you to kind of just visually look at, to kind of do your technical analysis. You can kind of visually see where you want your take profit to be. And obviously you can drag on the right for the distance. Now, once you have drawn this, notice as I move this bottom button, this bottom area here, it shows you the number of pips, how far down your stop loss distance is. So it's 74 pips. Now it's 54 pips. Now it's 47 pips, right? And if I drag this up, you can kind of see it's 106 pips, 140 pips. And the next thing you should be aware of is these numbers on the right correspond to this tool here. So my stop loss is set at 161.745. And my entry point is 162.22, and my take profit is 163.629. So if you use TradingView to visually do your technical analysis and visually input your trades, and if you want to copy these numbers down into your MetaTrader 4 on your phone, you can just copy these numbers and type them in your MetaTrader 4 to actually enter the trade itself on your phone. And this middle area here tells you your risk to reward ratio. So this one has a 2.97 risk to reward ratio, and it gets adjusted as I drag these two values around, the take profit and the stop loss. Everything else, all these other numbers here, you can kind of ignore. They're not relevant. And this next thing over here is the date and price range. This is a pretty useful tool because it allows you to click somewhere on the screen, move the mouse around, and click somewhere else on the screen, which gives you a lot of useful information. So this pretty much tells you, remember we're on the 15-minute chart, and it pretty much tells you that this distance that I've highlighted is 115 bars, which is equivalent to 1 day, 4 hours, and 45 minutes worth of time based on these candles. And it shows that I'm actually measuring a distance of 224.3 pips of distance. And you can kind of see that it adjusts as I drag this around. The reason why this tool is useful because you can click somewhere else on the screen and it always stays on the screen. If you don't want to use that, alternatively, you can always click on this little ruler icon here, this little measure icon. You click on the screen and it pretty much just kind of measures however far you want to measure, and it gives you the same information. But the difference is if you click somewhere else on the screen, it disappears. A quick little shortcut about this tool: if you don't want to have to come back to the left to always click this, a shortcut you can do is you can just hold Shift on your keyboard and then click somewhere on the screen and then click somewhere else, and you'll be able to highlight and do the same thing just by holding Shift. And this little zoom in icon tool here, I never use this because again, I just use my trackpad, scroll up, down on the mouse wheel, scroll up, down, and do what you got to do. So I never use that. Now this magnet tool here, let me kind of explain what this does. So this can be extremely useful if used the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, And you'll notice that there's, if you click on the little right arrow, you'll notice that there's a weak magnet and a strong magnet. So let's talk about the weak magnet first. Once I have this enabled, I can pick whatever tool I want to use. Let's say I want to use a trend line. So I'm using the magnet tool with the trend line. Let me kind of explain how this works. Let me zoom into a little section here. And you'll notice as I'm hovering my mouse, since I'm using the weak magnet tool, it allows me to kind of freehand the cursor. But as I get close, as my mouse gets close to a wick or a body, it will automatically jump to the actual very tip-top edge of the actual wick. Notice the cursor, as I move closer, is jumping to it. So now if I click the screen, even though my mouse isn't directly on the wick, it'll put it on the wick for me to allow me to do my technical analysis in extremely precise format. So now I know the start of this trend line is on the tip-top pixel of that wick. Very important when it comes to technical analysis. You have to be accurate. That's a weak magnet tool. Now, if I wanted to maybe not touch the wick, but maybe if I wanted to do a magnet on the actual body, same concept, I can move my mouse and it'll touch the body if I get close to the edge of the body. Same thing. So now I know this trend line started on the exact edge of the body itself. That's a weak magnet tool. Now the strong magnet tool, same concept, but this time it doesn't matter how far or how close I am to the candle. It will always, look, my mouse is way up here at the top. It will always essentially activate the magnet tool to the tip top edge of the wick or the body. Doesn't matter where your mouse is. But personally, I leave this whole magnet tool disabled. And you can temporarily enable this, which is what I do use. I always very often use this by clicking and enabling whatever tool you want to use. And you can hold Command if you're using a Mac, or Control if you're using a Windows. You can hold Control or Command during the duration of when you want the magnet tool to be enabled. So for example, if I want to start a trend line down here, I just put my mouse like somewhere around here, and then I hold Command, and notice that it just kind of jumps as I'm holding, or as I tap Command. So just hold Command, make my first click, let go of Command, and now I just freehand the rest of the technicals, right? So now I've got my trend line created here, but I know my starting point is super accurate. So that's the way that I personally would suggest you use the magnet tool. Now this next section here, this is also pretty useful. What this pretty much does is, if I enable stay in drawing mode, if I choose a trend line, and if I draw a trend line and I finish drawing it, it'll allow me to be able to quickly draw another trend line, because it'll stay in that specific tool that I have selected. So I can draw a bunch of trend lines, I can draw a bunch of trend lines, but if I don't have this enabled, as I draw my trend line, notice it'll always default and go back to this cursor mode here. So next time I want to draw a second trend line, I'll have to click it again and draw the second trend line, and click it again to draw the next trend line. The thing about this tool here though, is if you have this enabled and you want to draw your trend lines, but let's say you just want to like drag the screen somewhere and you can't drag it because it stays in this mode, and you're like, damn, I just drew a trend line that I didn't really want to draw. You can simply exit that tool and go back to the cursor by just simply right clicking on the chart. So if I right click, it'll go back to this tool, which kind of allows me to kind of drag around and do whatever I got to do. Next thing here, which is the lock all drawings tool. If you don't have this enabled, you can pretty much just drag around your little technical analysis everywhere you want. If you have this enabled, you won't be able to drag anything around. It just kind of locks it in place. I never use that. Next thing here, hide all drawings. You click on this, it'll just pretty much hide everything, all your technicals that you made. It'll just hide everything on the chart. So you can kind of look at it from like a clean perspective. And you click it again to re-enable everything. Next thing, you just click on the little trash can icon here to remove everything from your chart. And again, if you accidentally remove everything, just remember you can always hit the little back arrow here, or you could do Control Z, or if you're on a Mac, you do Command Z. Next thing, if you want to look at like 5 days worth of time, you just click on that and it pretty much loads up like 5 days worth of time, or 3 months worth of time, or 1 day worth of time. I never really use that myself either. I just kind of scroll as I want, but just know that's available for you as well. Next, real quick, just make sure that this is set to whatever time zone that you're in. And lastly, the last thing I want to talk about here is this little object tree right here. So let me kind of go back to where I was drawing the technical analysis. I'm gonna go back to the 1 hour chart. This is kind of where I was doing all the little stuff here. And if you click on the little object tree thing right here, pretty much what it does, it shows you every single technical analysis or every single thing that you have drawn on the actual chart itself. So feel free to play around with this. I use this heavily myself. This is a very not a commonly known feature, but pretty much what this allows you to do, it allows you to organize your charts so you can toggle things on and off. Let me just kind of explain how this works. If I click on a trend line, I click new folder, it'll create the group. I can right click, rename to example TL or trend lines, and I can drag and highlight all the trend lines, and I can drag them into the folder. And when they are indented, that means they are now within the folder. See, everything here that's indented is now within the trend line folder. And you can always minimize and unminimize your folders. And then you can create folders for any single thing that you want. So if you want to create a folder for all your rectangles or your zones or your support and resistance, you can create a new folder. Support resistance, and I can put all my support and resistance in that folder. And as I continue to draw more support and resistance, notice they all appear on the right as well. And I can always drag them into my folder, and I can always minimize and open the folder. And also real quick, since this is an object tree, it's based on layers, right? So everything towards the bottom of this list is like in the back layer, is in like the bottom layer. Anything towards the top is like the top layer. So I'm going to move, you can move this freely to whatever position you want on like the layers. So the reason why this is important is you can hide, for example, if I want to hide all my trend lines, I can click on the little eyeball button and it'll just hide all my trend lines to keep it super simple. If I want to hide all my support and resistance, I'll click on that and it'll keep my chart clear. So it allows you to toggle on and off various different things on your chart. This can be a very, very powerful tool if you use the object tree the right way. And again, to minimize, to close this little side panel up, click that button again, and now everything is clean. Now, I know I went through all this stuff very quickly and I spoke fast because I wanted to make sure that I'm able to condense and maximize and give you as much value in this video as possible. So if you need to kind of go back on this video and watch it and pause it and kind of fast forward to the spots that you kind of want to rewatch again, definitely feel free to do so. I wanted to pack so much value in this video to make sure you understand every single important feature of TradingView so you can use this tool and get the most out of this platform. Now, I know this video was long, so for those of you that actually stuck with me to this point, I want you to go down to the comments and write the word object tree. So this way I know for those of you who have actually reached this part of the video. So go ahead and type object tree into the comment section below so I can see those of you that actually got to this point of the video. And remember, if you want that discount code for TradingView, remember, you would have to click the link in the description. And if you are already an existing TradingView customer, just make sure you open up an incognito mode on your browser and use a different email that has not been associated with TradingView. So this way you can get the $30 discount, and this way you can also get the half price for the plan itself as well. That being said, I hope this video was useful for you, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.